got to consider too that you know, you say as big as they are. We're discussing something that's at fully grown, an estimated 7 to 9 feet tall, roughly 3 feet across the chest. So shoulder to shoulder, yeah, roughly 3 feet. So yeah, we're talking about something that's pretty good size, and a lot of people don't realize that like the baboon that was in that Clint Eastwood movie, Clyde, was that his name?
Yeah.
Yes. He was a very young one then, but when Clyde was fully grown, if he had stood up, he would have been 6'1". But baboons just don't stand up fully erect. But if he had stood up, he was 6'1", and I think they weighed him in at 450 pounds. So when we're dealing with a Bigfoot, so to speak, we're dealing with something that's 7 to 9 feet tall, 3 feet across the chest. From heel to toe in one step is an average of 54 inches. That's man usually only takes from heel to toe a 30-inch step at most. And so we're dealing with something that takes a 2 foot longer stride than we do. And that's why if either one of you were in the service, when you're taught to march, you're taught, and that's literally what you take is a 30-inch step on average. So you're dealing with something that takes a 2 foot longer step than you do. And estimated weight, as far as me estimating their weight, I'm going to go 800 to 1,200 pounds fully grown. So, yeah, I'm not going to tangle with one if I can help it. But, in fact, I know how to avoid it. Just turn and walk away, and they'll leave you alone. Should pretty much like everything else in the woods. Unless it's a hungry cat and they're going to see what they can eat. We're not dealing with a dumb animal, and that's where a lot of people are mistaken. We're dealing with a highly intelligent being. So you got any questions in the chat room?
Well, I was going to say, it's not really a question. It's more of a thought.
Okay.
You know, nature, like deer and the turkey and the squirrels, they've got a natural camouflage. They naturally blend in with their surroundings. A Bigfoot, you know, they're the same way. They will naturally blend in with what's around them.
Sure. Exactly. And it's the same thing with any woodland being. I mean, if it were me in the woods, and had an opportunity to either wear a rabbit fur coat or a buffalo hide coat, I'm going to be wearing a buffalo hide coat. You know, because it will blend in with anything, even in the wintertime.
Right.
Got another question. Somebody wants to know why, and I don't know if it's true because you've done more study on them, is why do the Bigfoots follow like tracks and power lines and stuff like that? Do they do that, and if so, why?
Do they follow tracks?
You know, like railroad tracks and power line.
You know what? Yeah. Okay. There you go. That's a good point to make too. Here's a good point. Like I said, when we had stuff thrown at us at night, we were on a pipeline right away. So is that it's pipeline right away, highline right of ways, railroad tracks? Yeah, those are just natural highways for them. You know, something comes along, they just step off in the tree line, they disappeared. So yeah, that's just a natural highway. I mean, that's like to them, if there's a train coming down the tracks, they just step off in the tree line, and bam, nobody sees them. If they're on a pipeline right away or out in an area that's being harvested for wood and stuff like that. Trees are being harvested and stuff. They just step off in another tree line across from it, and boom, just step off the road, out of the way. Nobody even knows you're there. You can literally take, if you get a platoon-sized group of men that have had some form of military training, just if they just went to boot camp, and put them in camouflage, or you don't even have to put them in camouflage. Chances are they can walk from Ohio down here to the Gulf Coast and never even be seen. And anybody that doubts it, get a map out and look at the natural woodlands between here and there. It's can be very easily done.
All right, well, here's another question. So they want to know why do the Bigfoots like to look into like mobile homes, but when there's somebody's out in the woods in a tent or something or other, they like to take
curiosity. Curiosity, I think, is all it is.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's my opinion. I mean, they just, because I had one that would come up behind the house, and it was the same one I feel like was the very first night, my very first encounter. That encounter, which I was told by a group of researchers at the time, is, that was a one-time thing. It probably won't happen again. Really, it's been happening for the last 6 months. I'm sorry it took you this long to get here. But, it's still going on 2 or 3 nights a week,
Yeah.
This went on for almost 2 years, actually. Excuse me. I had a game room in that house that I was in at the lake. It was a 2-car garage that was converted to a game room. And I had a big screen TV in there, pinball machines, slot machines, pool table, all the little colorful things in life that you really have no use for, but you get just because it's fun to have something there and you don't have to go anywhere if you don't want to. So I turned around and I would watch like Cartoon Network late at night, just because it always puts me to sleep. At that, and I like cartoons. Who can not like cartoons? And I felt like something was looking in the door. And so I during that day I thought, when I came in that back door that day, I thought, well, I'm going to close this curtain because it just doesn't feel right leaving that curtain open. I feel like I'm being watched. And I closed that curtain on that back door, sat down in my recliner there, and as we were sitting there, my daughter and I were sitting there about 1 o'clock in the morning. I don't remember what we were watching. There was a big bump on the side of the house. I think we had closed it and shut the cartoons off from it. We opened that curtain back up, and it never happened again. But that was our thought, was that, we interrupted his cartoons. I'm sorry, we interrupted Johnny Bravo, And as odd as that sounds to people, I feel like it might have been a young male that was wandering up by the house there, and used to watch us. Come up at night and it would watch us. And let me give you another story that's rather entertaining, because here I am at this point. I'm thinking I got this big ape trained, and this big ape's got me trained. I would go out at night sometimes, and I would take a potato or an apple or an onion and roll it towards the tree line where I saw my first one at, where the bush that grinned, I should say, and I would roll it out toward that and leave I'd have the porch light on. I'd roll it out towards that. I would go back in, shut the porch light off, and give it about 5 minutes, and I would turn the porch light back on and go back out there, and it would be gone. Now, this went on for probably 2 or 3 weeks, and I thought, well, I'm just going to see how much I got this thing trained. because it would toss rocks at the it would, you know, have June bugs hit a garage door. Well, this thing would toss pebbles at the door, at the garage door there, and you could hear it hitting them, and you could tell the difference between anything else hitting that door and a pebble hitting the door. It's completely distinct sound. And I would step out, and I thought, well, I'm not going to answer it this night. This one night, for some reason, I thought, well, I'm just going to ignore it. About 1 o'clock in the morning, I was very informed that I had ignored it. And it banged on the side of the house, and I thought it was going to knock me out of my recliner. So I was sitting there, and I thought, well, I started laughing, and I thought, you know, here I am thinking I got this big ape trained, and this big ape sitting there thinking it's got me trained. So, you know, who was training who?
Right. So we got a caller on the line. Hello, caller. Who is this? You there? Hello, caller. You are on taps. Go ahead. Well, apparently the caller is not answering this or can't hear it.
Are you there?
He dropped this, whoever it was. Anyway.
It was?
Somebody tried to call in. I don't know who it is. They got dropped, so.
Oh, that happens too. Welcome to Blog Talk Radio. How long y'all been doing this show now?
I started it up just a couple months ago. It was like mainly on the weekends, about 30-minute show on the weekends, and some of my guys said, "Hey, why don't we just try a 2-hour show?" We signed up for the kind of the free premiere thing for 30 days, and we're just trying it out. Haven't had it going very long. We try to get everybody to you know, just trying it out.
Listeners, though. Yeah, and that's a good thing. You know, it's always neat when you get a bunch of people that have a lot in common, but then you're going to get the naysayers and the how to put them. The trouble starters.
Right.
So you'll get those every now and then too. And that's the one thing I found, and it's one of the reasons I stepped away from being as upfront as I was about my research. I used to be very blatant, very in your face about it. Doing the radio show and on a weekly basis and all that stuff, because a lot of the people weren't in agreement with each other, and they just get out and out ugly with each other. And I'm like, I don't need this kind of crap, you know. And that's the one thing about research. It's just that, it's research. And it's like someone asked Einstein one time, how do you know what you're doing while you're doing research? He said, if I knew what I was doing, it wouldn't be research. So, you know, that's exactly what it is. None of us know what we're doing. And if anyone says they know everything there is to know about it, they're so full of crap, it's pathetic. Because we don't know. We don't have a clue.
Well, we got another call. See if we... hello? You're on the air.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Dwayne. I don't know what was going on a while ago. I don't know where y'all are at in the conversation either exactly, because I just actually joined in. But yeah.
Well, there he was just answering some questions about the Bigfoots and stuff, and he was asking us how long we had the radio going, and you called. I don't know. I guess we just didn't hear anything. I answered, but it didn't go through for some weird reason.
Yeah, I don't know what happened either. I could hear you talking, but I guess you couldn't hear me.
Yeah, it sounded like it was on mute or something or other, but anyway.